Look, there's a lot of different ways to do a lot of different things. And if you're the type of person who loves growth, there's a lot of different ways to gain more personal power. But one thing's for certain, if you want to reach the levels that in your mind are aligned with the best version of you, then there's going to be some aspect of gaining personal power by working with communities or groups. I'm not saying communities as in your neighboring communities in your towns. I'm talking about communities, like-minded people. We're up to big things, supporting each other, because you can accomplish so much more when you feel grounded and when you have a strong network versus when you don't. So we're going to talk about all that and more on this episode, so stay tuned. I'm Adam Kiddoo, and it's time to master the art of real heart alignment, where you live, work, and play from your personal power as energy aligns, your gifts flow, and life simply works. These life-changing conversations are designed to help you to see what you're not seeing, hear what you're not hearing, and to be who you're not being, as the world needs more heart-centered leaders now more than ever. Are you ready to say no to living a half-hearted life and say yes instead to boldly living from a place of real heart alignment? Welcome to the Adam Kiddoo podcast. Yo. Welcome back to the Adam Kiddoo podcast. On this episode, we're going to get into some fun stuff. We're going to talk about how working with a group can multiply your output and your results and effectiveness in this world. It's no secret. You can go fast and do a lot of things when you're by yourself. But if you want longevity, if you're in this game for the long haul, not the sprint, but the marathon, then you'll go a lot further when you go with others. And I really feel in my heart of hearts that this world is getting into this place of even more selfishness than ever before. The fear that's been stricken through this world causes so many people to look out for number one, me, oh, my, oh, myself, me, myself, and I. Me, myself, and Irene. And when you are only focused on you, and I'm only focused on me, and that person's only focused on that person, then we have these singular events happening. We're solo. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs can attest to how painful it can be as this solopreneur. Maybe you've even got one or two people working with you, but you just don't feel supported and grounded because you don't have the network, the team, the support built around you. And the same thing goes for your family life as well. If you are not strong and centered and feeling supportive and feeling grounded at your home, then that's going to cause less personal power in business, in other relationships, and in your life. So today on this conversation, I want to use some analogies. I want to look at nature a little bit. So when it comes to ants and building a colony, these little tiny things, they can actually build significant structures working as a team. Another great example is bees, right? If there's only one bee trying to collect the pollen to protect the nest, then they're not going to be able to accomplish the goal that they would like to accomplish. But in working together, they can, yet again, accomplish great things. Also, let's look at geese. When geese are flying in the air, and I see these flying over my house all the time, I love it. They're flying in a V shape. And the reason they do that is because in that shape, they are able to draft off of each other to where the geese that are behind the certain geese, behind the geese, they are all allowing less friction of the air so they don't burn up as much energy, so that way they can fly further. They can fly further as a group than they can by themselves. And another great example is music. Yes, you can hear the sweetest saxophone, right? You can hear the beautiful piano. When you can start to bring these instruments together collectively, you make a much richer sound. And so look at your life right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how supported do you feel? Again, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we have a rock star team. They're doing our things. They're kind of helping us hold ourselves to a higher standard and to ground us. But there's also another analogy I want to bring to the table, and that is of a plant in a pot. There's a certain correlation between the size of the plant and the size of the pot. If you put a small pot in too big of a plant, it will cause the roots to rot. It will also cause the plant to focus more on growing the roots than extending the foliage, which is the flowers, or excuse me, the leaves, if you will. And if you don't extend the foliage, then you can't bring in energy through photosynthesis, and the plant will not break down that energy from the light, and it will not produce oxygen back to us. And so the size of the container matters in nature and in business. And sometimes we outgrow the container to where it's too small for us and we start breaking out of it, but we don't have room to grow. And that's when, pain happens. That's when problems happen. That's when, stress happens on the plant and on you. However, when you continue to put yourself in a little bit bigger container that's stretching you and giving you room to grow, then all of a sudden, what do you think happens? Growth almost naturally happens when you put yourself in the right environment. That is, if you're showing up, if you're doing your work. But there's something key here that a lot of entrepreneurs almost sabotage themselves by continuing to stay in the same environment, thinking they are going to see explosive growth or even steady or even solid growth. We get so fixed on this finite world, thinking it's a finite world. But we're here to expand. We're here to grow. We're here to evolve. And the best way to do that is to find yourself first in an environment that helps you feel grounded, that gives you the foundation to springboard upon. Because as entrepreneurs, as personal brands, if you will, as peeps with huge hearts, when you put yourself out there and you take risks and you don't know if this is going to be a success or a failure, if you will, and you don't have a safe place to land, you don't have a place of people who are on the same path as you, who care deeply for you, that will help to pick you up, dust you off, to help you to see what you currently aren't seeing, and allows you the space to step back on the path. And if we do not have that, if we are left to our own devices, for one thing, we're more likely to hide behind the scenes. And a lot of people will say, hey, look, join my mastermind, if you will. But I see these masterminds with like 500 people. It's crazy. It's like, to me, it's like, is that a true mastermind? Like, is there this synergistic network happening, or is it more of just a group coaching program where the leaders in the program are just giving more information? And yes, there might be some, mingling or connection here and there, but is that a real mastermind where the roots are solid? Or is that too spread out? Where you have the ability in these bigger groups, and I've seen it myself and I've seen it in a lot of other people, we don't play the game like we know we should and can play this game because we're sitting in back of the class. We're not asking questions. But yes, we have this investment going, this probably monthly investment, if you will. We're not showing up. We're not doing the work. We're not showing out because other people don't see us, right? I might have filled out an accountability form or something like that, but people don't see you. And so I've started seeing this in my life over and over and over again. And if ever I struggle, I connect myself, I ground myself with like-minded people. I'm being coached by one of the best coaches in the industry right now. And I'm always working to find ways to put myself in new environments that allow me to grow. And I'm not going to just throw myself in this huge pool where I just can't even swim yet. Sometimes you have to step in and step in and step in to new environments, but sometimes we just stay so closed off and so comfortable in our old environments and we fool ourselves. I've heard so many people say, I'm just going to, take what I know this year and do it. Okay, awesome. I'm rooting you on. However, I know how that goes as well. Sometimes that mentality is going to have you closing off to the world and going right back into this place of solopreneurship where you're not getting the support and the guidance. You're not showing up in an environment because you're in no environment. You're solo. You're by yourself. That's too small of a pot, if you will. So when it comes to hitting that new level, to stretching a little further, to showing up as yourself so you can know yourself even better than you know yourself now, scary thing, you can allow others to know yourself better than you know yourself because of how you show up. And the level of vulnerability and the level of caringness that you show has a ripple effect in the community with the mastermind, if you will, the peeps that are working closely together. And that inspires them and that changes them, that shapes them and molds them so they can show up bigger. And then they're showing up bigger, which makes you want to show up bigger. That's the kind of environment that's going to allow you to get to that new level and to really have more consistent and steady and focused growth. Because sometimes when we just have a team or if we have a couple entrepreneurs that, business peeps we talk to here and there just to kind of stay in the game, just to stay fresh, just to stay accountable, sometimes we hide from people. We don't really show our true selves. But if you're in an environment, in a room with others who are showing their true selves, you will also hold yourself to that standard. You will dig a little deeper. You will play a little harder. You will show your heart a little bit more because at the end of the day, the level of coaching, the level of support, the level of connection you have is going to allow you to take these bigger leaps or to take these bigger steps even to make sure you are making progress on your path. Because there's a lot of fear in the world. There's a lot of doubts and insecurities. And sometimes it just wake up and you're just like, I feel all icky and doubtful. Like, what is this? You're picking up on other people's energies and sometimes weeks go by, months go by, and you didn't even realize it until you're just like, what am I doing? Like, I'm back to my old. That doesn't happen when you're in an environment where people see you. Yet again, you might be able to feel some passion coming out of me because I'm very passionate about that. It was a scary journey for me when I was a solopreneur early on. It was a dark place. I didn't really have people to reach out to. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have guidance or support. And little by little, inch by inch, I made the commitment to step into a different room, a new room that I knew would stretch me. It wasn't so big and scary that I was just fried and unable to do stuff. But that's on me as well. I've got to be able to do my work. So nature is a great example of growth and of working together. So what's that rating? What's that scale on 1 to 10? How grounded and supported and whole do you feel? And yes, we could feel very grounded and supported ourselves. But I promise you, if you walk into, some sort of a hairy, scary situation, a zombie apocalypse, rest assured you're going to want some people on your side. No, that's just a fun, wacky example. But it really is. It's like you feel so secure when people have your back and they care about you. And they would do anything to open a door for you. We often don't have that. And we see the big players in the industry who are doing this already. They've got great networks. They're sharing each other on each other's podcasts. They have a book launch. They got 50 people that's already there at the drop of a hat supporting them because they built these connections. And then a lot of peeps, myself included for the longest time, we might think we got connections, but will people really stop at a dime to help? And that's the environment that I want to create for myself and for you and for others. Is this place where just being in this environment, you hold yourself to a higher standard, you play a higher level game. Because I take this work serious. And obviously I'm not perfect. I get into my stuff too. That's why I need peeps around. But I promise you this, that's my commitment this year and beyond, is to, one, continue to get myself in this place, this new level, this different environment that's a little bit more expansive, It's allowing me to know myself and for others to know me so they can call me on my stuff. And I want that for you as well. And for the first time this year, I'm launching a podcast, or excuse me, a mastermind. You might have heard this on recent podcast episodes. And this is something that was very scary for me for a long time. I don't feel that I was supported and grounded in my environment in order to hold the space for others. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't ready. And so the time is now. I'm calling in the troops, right? It's time to build deeper, longer lasting relationships because we're not playing this game as a sprint, playing this game as a marathon, right? We're in it for the long haul, right? I mean, why else are you here? If you're trying to make that quick buck and make a quick exit, you can do it, right? But if you're in the personal brand space, if you're the, content creator, the lead in the business, that's not always the easiest thing to do, right? And also, if you're coming from this place of just trying to grab the bag, we feel that these days. We know when people are trying to grab the bag. Like it's not even a question anymore. And sometimes it's not even analytical. We can feel it. We can sense it. Something's not right here. I don't know. I'm going to pause. I'm going to chill, right? I don't think this is for me. And your peeps are thinking that as well. So it's up to us to gain more personal power by being supported and grounded and seen and heard and understood. Because in that moment, when we know they see me, these are my peeps, we can step to the new level. We can hold our heads a little higher. We can jump a little further. So we know that net is right there to catch us. I was at an event here recently. There was a guest speaker, Laurie Harder, who shared this story. There was two fun stories she shared. One was she went on this obstacle course where they're on ropes very high in the air, right? And she said before they got up there on the ropes, the leaders who, run that event place, they walked through them to show them every piece of that net is secure. They showed them it's grounded. They had people testing it and getting on there beforehand. So that way you get to this place of, oh, I'm supported. I'm cool. I can focus on the objective at hand here. Otherwise, you're up there like, what is this thing going to collapse, or what happens if I fall, and all that? That's all taken care of. They squash that. And you feel supported, and you're able to take more risks when you're supported. And another thing Laurie shared at this event was absolutely just beautiful to me. She had, written her manuscript for a book. She had reached out to all these publishers, little by little, inch by inch, one by one, rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter, or more like emails, if you will, right? And she was down to this last publisher. And she just knew, if this comes back at a no, I'm in a very vulnerable spot, right? So she set a meeting with her friend, and said, hey, look, this meeting's going down. They're going to tell me the final thing at 4:00 today. Can you be ready at 4:15, 4:30? The friend says, absolutely. She already checked the net. She already set the support system. And the no came in. She felt crushed. She contacted her friend, and they just had a little fun, just meeting over Zoom, just chatting a bit, just getting her in a good place, And on she went. And she went on to publish some books. And that's just another great example. Sometimes it can be one person, but just imagine yourself with 12 people that would stop anything to make sure you're in a good place. And you are making sure others are in a good place. So together we're growing. And also we're knowing each other's businesses. So that way, if somebody is speaking about it, because, as entrepreneurs, we meet a lot of people. So if somebody's talking about what you do, damn right, we're going to endorse you, right? You're our family. So when you have people that are looking out for you, and even, telling a friend of theirs, hey, look, have this person on your podcast. Oh, I will. Awesome. To be able to open doors like that for each other. Just that one example, like there's so much expansion in that. But then when you're sharing ideas and what works well in the business and, you know, things that maybe your perspective shift that's working well with you, we're sharing wins. You know, sometimes we're sharing losses, AKA getting feedback. There is no such thing as losing or failure unless you quit. And we're playing a different level game together. Until you have that support system that I've found time and time again, and now it's time to go to this next level. Until you really have that, there's only so much growth that can be correlated from the environment you're playing in now. So, as I mentioned on previous episodes here, I'm not going to get into the full rundown. I'm launching a mastermind. And we are doing a simple Q&A session where I'm answering some questions, giving more context behind the vision and what I see possible and happening for this mastermind group. And that's going down on the 20th of February. I know how these podcast things goes. That's 2024. So if you're watching this later or listening to this later, 2024, chances are you can hit that same link. And if you're like, oh, I want that environment, there's going to be a notification list where you can just get on the email list and we'll notify you when we are opening applications again. The time is now. The energy is right. And so when it comes to playing this game, the absolute best, most effective thing you can do if you're really committed to this path is to, one, stop playing small, stop hiding, stop thinking I got it myself and I got to figure it out. It's almost like you get to a point in business, you've invested so much in courses or whatever that you're going to punish yourself. You're going to lock yourself in a jail cell and say, I'm going to do it myself. Okay, I've been there. I've been there, right? Not to say that that can't happen or, you know, we don't want to go inside, you know, if you're going inside, absolutely. But if you're just shutting off from everybody else who can help you, is that the smartest play? Right. And I'm not talking about just gaining more information, I'm talking about true and lasting support. This ain't a mastermind group disguised as a group coaching program. This is a mastermind in every sense of the term. And so if you are ready for a new room where you can play a new game with new people, then you can go to adamkiddoo.com/mastermind to either get on the notification list or to show up to the training on the 20th to get registered for that. Or we have the application process right there. I've got another 8-minute video just giving a little bit more context and behind the scenes. But the time is now. And yet again, if you are not feeling supported, I invite you to come to this place of stepping into a new room so you can know yourself, so you can be yourself, right? We don't have to wear masks anymore. You can be yourself, you can share your heart, you can be seen, and we can help you to hold yourself to that highest standard that you see yourself in your mind. When we all play that game, magical things will happen. So much love to you. If I can help in any way, I'm here for you. I'm excited for this year. There's so much goodness at hand, but also there's a lot of challenging times. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of resistance in the marketplace, in ourselves at times. And so you don't need somebody to pat you on the back and tell you good try necessarily. But you do benefit greatly from being around peeps that are on the same wavelength or higher than the level you're playing right now. So let's all grow together. So, much love. Until next time, go help somebody because the world needs more heart-centered leaders now more than ever. So damn it, let's go lead. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Adam Kiddoo podcast. If you would take a moment to subscribe and click the bell icon so that way you get notified when future episodes air. Now here's the thing. If you are looking for the show notes, you can find a link to those below. If you're looking for the handles of the guests that I've been interviewing, things of that nature, you'll find that here. And if there's anything else that stood out to you in the episode, or if there's anything I can do for you, please leave a comment below, or for sure message me on Instagram if you'd like, as I'm always looking to hear what's working well for you and what caught your interest about the Adam Kiddoo podcast. So, time to go, time to change the world, time to help more people. Are you ready? Let's go do this thing. The world needs more leaders. So thanks again for listening to the Adam Kiddoo podcast.